You're listening to Beast Over Burden, powered by Barbell Logic.
We're Nikki and Andrew, your personal professional coaches.
We help you take control of your fitness through hard but doable training and nutrition practices that fit your busy life.
Build a stronger, healthier version of yourself with lifelong habits. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Beast Over Burden, powered by Barbell Logic. We are here again with another Barbell Logic coach from Thailand. He is donating his really precious deep sleep hours at 1 a.m. local time for him. And he's here with his client, Scott. Really excited to chat with you guys and hear how your lifting journey has been. But welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah. So, Jamal, when we put this out to our whole team looking for cool stories to talk about on the show, what made you think of Scott?
The first thing which came to my mind was he was one of the people who never gave up, even if the circumstances were really, really strongly against us. And when there were so many setbacks coming back to back for the entire last year, and I always find it very important for people to keep going and really focus on what they can do instead of what they cannot do. And I think he did that extremely well, kept the consistency going, and that we can come back to the point where he is back on track, doing the normal stuff, doing PRs, while never giving up.
That is cool. And when you heard about that, Scott, were you just like, what? Why me? Or what was that like for you?
I was honored that Jamal thought of me. He's been my coach for a couple of years now, and last year was quite hectic, and he was there with me and encouraging me. So it meant a lot that he thought of me to talk about maybe the ups and downs of training on the podcast.
And so you have over 500 workouts with us. Are those all with Jamal?
No, I've had a few good coaches over the years. I started in I think it was the academy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's a long
from a
time
few
ago.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I had some good young coaches that kind of rotated through, and then I got with Jamal, and I've stayed with him for past few years now.
Yeah, that's rad. It takes a long time to get over 500 workouts. It's amazing. Yeah, well done. And like you were saying, many ups and downs over 500 workouts. So you both have mentioned like how challenging it was at times and how Jamal, he never gave up. Like what kind of obstacles did you run into? What happened?
Well, I'll start off saying that in January of 2024, I had a talk with Jamal, and I let him know that my wife and I were expecting another baby in April.
Which is always great for training. Just really awesome for training. Yes.
At the end of 2023, I'd really hit in a stride. I was the strongest I'd ever been. I told him I think we should try to peak down and try to set some like single rep PRs before the baby come, because I knew it would change drastically after that. So we started down that path, and about February, I had a little procedure done, ended up with several stitches, and that kind of relegated me for a few weeks to some machine work and things like that. So kind of a bumpy start. And then the baby was born in April, and everybody was happy and healthy. So we took some time off work. And of course, with the new baby, sleep's not perfect or anything like that. So I think I got back in the gym seriously about May. In June, I ended up injuring myself. It was kind of funny. I'd set like a 3-rep or a 5-rep bench PR, and I ended up with a pain in my upper back on the right side. And a couple days later, I had some really bad neuropathy. I had numbness and tingling down my right arm and in my thumb and finger. I had trouble even just raising my arm above my shoulder like that. So really, really tough injury. And I spent a few months rehabbing that, physical therapy. That's when we started doing the machines and just anything we could do. I was barely able to dumbbell press like 25 pounds in this right arm for a while.
And you're strong. Like you're in your 30s, I was looking back at some of your numbers. Like, I imagine to go from pressing, what were you pressing at that time and benching?
Jamal, I think I did 315 for 3 reps earlier that year. And I was shoulder dumbbell pressing 80, 85-pound dumbbells, something like that. So to go back and struggle with 25 and 30s was a reality check. And it was kind of tough mentally.
Yeah. It's interesting how sometimes it's like things snowball. Just like, oh, it'll be fine. It's just getting ready for new baby. And then it's like, oh, no, stitches. Oh, no, now my shoulder is just totally messed up. And before you know it, you're like, what is this body that I'm having to navigate in? Like, I don't trust anything anymore, you know?
It really did seem like it. It seemed like the hits just kept coming.
Yeah.
And in the middle of my rehab, my father, he got diagnosed with a terminal illness. And at one point, I ended up moving in with him to take care of him.
Wow.
And I lived with him for about 3 or 4 months, and he passed away in November.
Oh, Scott, that's a lot.
And it was about December before I ended up doing something that resembled barbell training again, early December. It was about January to December. It almost come full circle. And it was like the whole 2024 was tough as far as training, and at points training had to take a back seat or at least take a few drops down the priority list for sure.
Yeah. And, even just one of those events in life is enough to have like a ripple effect for a couple months on either side. But man, new baby, and then you are moving in with your dad and caring for him. And that's so much emotional stress that you really feel in interesting ways.
For sure.
So Jamal, as a coach, you're always like, okay, well, let's always work on getting you stronger. It's like we have that kind of running in the background all the time. But then when circumstances change this much, what did you start helping Scott prioritize?
Right at the beginning, when he talked about the procedure, right, that also came kind of out of nowhere when we were just doing PRs. And at that point, I realized we cannot continue what we're doing. So I'll try to shift a bit in terms of, hey, let's just focus what you can do and not what you cannot do, and look at training more at something which feels good for the moment, and which something which is positive and you can do for yourself, and not giving up, because we had to deviate very, very strongly from what we normally would do. And this can be very boring.
Yeah.
Right? Because we couldn't use a lot of things when, like, the stuff he was talking about was something on the upper back. So nothing we could use anymore which has any kind of movement around the upper back or the shoulder blade. And then you eventually realize there's not that much you can do anymore. So we're really, for a while, at the point where we had to just focus on isolated arm work, like put the elbows close to your side, make sure the shoulder doesn't move, and basically do curls and tricep work that way. And a bit of isolated leg work where you can sit somewhere without moving your upper back, without loading yourself.
Yeah. Because it totally takes squat out of the equation too, huh?
I mean, for a while, we only did tricep, bicep work and a bit of seated leg extension, seated leg work, and a bit of dumbbell split squats eventually. And then slowly started to introduce the safety squat bar. That's something we came back quite a bit, even with the shoulder issue again. And it's a tool I really started to like.
Yeah.
Because many times if there's a problem with the upper, with the shoulder or any other neck related, the safety squat bar squat moves substantially better than the traditional low bar or even high bar squat position.
What did you think about the safety squat bar, Scott?
I actually like it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get the hang of it, it's like you feel it so much in your legs.
Yeah. And at times when the weights are heavy and your shoulders and elbows get a little achy and things like that, a session with the safety squat bar, I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. The low bar arm challenge definitely is like a wave that you have to deal with every so often. In this time where you're going to the gym and on your program, instead of being like, cool, I'm going to do some 3RMs, maybe in the next couple of weeks, going to train for that. And now you're just like, neat, 3x15, bicep curls, 3x10, leg extensions. Like, what made you keep going?
Well, having Jamal there, encouraging me, being with me through the whole step there, that helped a lot. There was times where my consistency was falling off, and he would send a note, like, "Hey, hope things are going well. Hopefully you can find time to get a session in this week." So some accountability there, but very compassionate to understanding what I was going through. And I kind of felt like I had a partner there encouraging me. So that helped. And then I guess competitiveness, I was ultimately wanting to get back and exceed, maybe the strength levels I had in the past. So just having an understanding that I have to start somewhere, I have to maintain some kind of consistency and not just quit altogether. Those were some of the things that kept me going. I knew it would be a long road back, but the encouragement and the that drive to get back there, it kind of powered me through some of those less exciting workouts.
Yeah. Yeah. And in a time when you are almost switching gears into survival mode, you're providing for your family, caring for your dad, not even living in the same house as your family for a lot of time, I imagine. And sometimes the biggest thing to figure out is, what am I going to eat today?
It felt like that sometimes. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
My wife was she was just awesome during that whole time. She was taking care of the kids and the house. I would stop in maybe on my way home from work before I got to my dad's house, and she would have some pre-made meals. She would like meal prep for me, and I could take those with me and take them to work for lunch or supper. So she kind of helped me keep it all together for sure. I couldn't have done it without her.
What's her name?
Amber.
Shout out, Amber. It's so nice. Yeah.
Yeah, she was awesome.
And that's not the end. Like, you weren't able to just bounce back, right? There were some more things that kind of reared their head in 2025.
Well, we started off kind of light and just kind of slowly progressed. Things just tend to get busy at work and at home. So sometimes it feels like I'm fighting just a consistency battle just to keep my sessions per week up.
Yeah.
So, sometimes that's a struggle depending on what the kids have going on.
Yeah.
We play a lot of sports and church activities and things like that. So sometimes the finding time just to get in the gym is difficult.
Yeah. It looks like your gym, Jamal was saying, it's in your place of work.
Yes.
Did you pick your job because of that?
It was a factor, sure.
Yeah, that's a nice gym too.
Yeah, I work at a large facility, so we actually have a nice gym, and they've invested in it.
Yeah.
They take input from the employees, so I've been able to acquire some barbells and different things to make my training life easier. So that it's a really nice gym. A squat
Yeah.
racks, got everything I need to train for sure.
Between having that available to you and then having an online coach, like, that flexibility seems like it was pretty useful when you had to be very much in the stage of rolling with the punches.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, just not having to worry about a commute to the gym.
Yeah.
If I could sneak up there for a lunch break, or maybe I could just sneak in there real quick and get the workout done before I head home, that's key for me. Just being able to get these sessions in week after week.
So what's the comeback been like since the beginning of this year?
We've been conservative. We found some movements that we're able to progress the weight, and we just didn't rush anything. Jamal was very good about programming for me.
That's really good.
And the whole thing is I was still struggling a little bit trying to get the strength and the mobility back on this arm. And I just did not want to have another setback and injure that neck, upper back area again. So we were very deliberate on the weight selections and how we progressed through. And it's been nice getting back to where we were. And some lifts I've even surpassed where I was. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, it's been a journey. But like I said, it's just been very slow and deliberate, and no re-injuries. And I feel pretty good. This arm's finally getting back to normal.
What a saga.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was it for you, Jamal? I find it hard myself to be like, okay, things are feeling good. Let's go for it. Or no, I need to play it cool. It's like there's an angel and a demon being like, play it cool. We're lifting forever. And then like, let's go for it. He's feeling better. Is that similar to you?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to not get injured. And we have other variables we need to play around with. Consistency is definitely challenging. Training time is another factor.
Ooh, yeah.
Because Scott is very strong and he has a tendency to be extremely strong, but there's so many things we need to put in there. Like I cannot come up with, let's train 4 days a week and have 90 to 2 hour workouts. It's all not going to happen that way. The most optimal is not going to work, but what we're doing at the end is we'll have a lot of flexibility in the program by just being on a 4-day split, but running it over much longer days than the 7 work weeks. Sometimes it's only 2 workouts per week, mostly 3.
I like that.
But some kind of squat or deadlift or bench or press or whatever is coming around frequent enough to make progress. Also, he's strong enough to handle numbers who I believe have an effect for longer. So it's okay if we do the regular squat only once every other week at some point.
Yeah. What's the 3x5 you just hit on your squat?
415 pounds.
Ish. Yeah, dude, that's a whole lot of weight. Oh my God. Yeah. That's so good. Nice job, man. Both of you. Dang. How was that? What was that day like?
There was some milestones there, hitting the 4 plates again. That was the first time I'd had floor plate squat in probably 18 months or something like that, Jamal. So
oh, wow,
that was a boost. And then I knew my old PR was just the next week, and we hit that, set the new PR, and I think I still have some room to go. So
I do appreciate how patient you are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting point is we make PRs again in like very classical rep ranges, right? It's not that we have a 6 RM only. So it's like we're back on the 3x5 and just add 5 pounds, and it comes around maybe every 10 days and it goes up.
Wow. That's pretty special. Yeah, actually, I want some of that. How can you share that with all of us?
Yeah, before the injury and everything, I was doing like a more traditional 4-day split. I felt like my body responded well to that program. And now with everything going on at home and at work, I just kind of stretch that out, and it gives me enough time to recover for the next workout. And like Jamal said, we just keep adding 5 pounds. You progress that over 6 months, 8 months, and you're right back to where you were. And hopefully we can make some more progress there.
I love how you blew up the 7-day week. It's so cool when you start thinking of like, okay, I don't have to be limited to that. Then you get flexibility in your training schedule. If you need to bump things a day, you totally can. And it's like the longer I do this, the more it's reinforced that more is not always better the longer that you train. Seems like that's a really good example of that.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed that flexibility because, with the kids, the t-ball and the soccer and all that, the practices and the games, they all, it all varies week to week. So, if I have something I can't train, I can just bump it a day, and, I don't feel like I've really lost much. So
yeah,
it's been nice.
What's motivating? Well, I'm actually curious. Why did you get into lifting in the first place?
Well, I guess I played sports growing up, and of course, in high school and college, you kind of do the wannabe bodybuilder type workouts at the local gym. So, I kind of trained a little bit when I was younger, got married, had kids. It kind of fell off a little bit. I even got a little heavier than what I wanted to be, started off losing weight. Then I started wanting to exercise and train again. I think I heard about Matt. He was coaching another YouTube personality, totally separate from weight training. It was James Yeager.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Way back in the day.
Yeah, I was kind of following him, and he was talking about he was lifting weights and training. And I felt like that's what I needed to do as well, because listening to the theory behind it and the way they progress weights and the movements that's selected. It just finally somebody kind of put it all together and was like, this is how you get strong. And it seemed like it was so well laid out. It kind of clicked with me. And I was like, I think I'm going to give this a try. That was in, right there at the end of 2020 there. So, had the whole COVID, thing that year. And by the time everything started opening back up again, that's when I started going to the gym and training, got signed up with you guys shortly after that.
If you could tell yourself, 4 or 5 years ago, you could like give yourself some advice. Knowing what you know now, what would you say?
Over the past few years, I've kind of eased my expectations a little bit, and it wasn't all about the numbers on the bar like it was when I first started. I was almost like fixated on the numbers and the progression, kind of as your training goes, evolves over time, and especially after going through what happened last year, it wasn't about the numbers anymore. It was about being consistent, getting in there and doing what you can as you can when life kind of gets in the way of training a little bit. So I think I'd probably tell myself just not to be fixated, but definitely keep my encouragement up to myself too, because as you kind of go through training, it kind of toughens you physically, it toughens you mentally. And I think all that time in the gym kind of made it to where I could kind of push through some of the tougher times that, life might deal you from as you go through it. So I'd also be encouraging too.
I feel when we get really focused on the numbers and then we stop being able to hit them, it can feel extremely discouraging. And I like how Jamal was so aware of when you weren't there. Like, hey, I'm still thinking about you. What's going on? Hope you're doing all right, doing things for yourself. I like that you're encouraging your past self. Jamal, what's something that working with Scott has taught you?
He taught me that it's very important to be resilient. And that's something I wanted to use all the time when I realized, hey, things are happening negatively, to remind him that you're a really strong guy. You will get through this for sure. And to really do not give up, to just keep going, and also to enjoy sometimes training a bit, because we need to be aware of once things are not going well anymore, you have to be aware of that it's a great thing to be able to move and to lift and to be pain-free. And that times like that sometimes will remind us. So he's definitely, from all the people I train, what I would consider one of the strongest people, not per se numbers on the bar, also with overcoming kind of like tough times.
Yeah, really tough times. Yeah.
Which it's very important that we can do that.
Yeah. Have you ever thought, what if I stopped? Like a year ago, what if you had stopped lifting?
That's come to mind, and it kind of came to mind at the time too. I was almost afraid to quit altogether, afraid I wouldn't want to pick it back up. But I think what I realized is I've been training for a few years, and it's just something I do. Now, after going through the things last year, I kind of see it now as I get the chance to train today. It's not something, oh man, I have to train today before I go home. I actually look forward to it now because things are to a point where I could get back into the gym and train, and I'm healthy. Things are calm enough to where I have the time to actually go work out. So now I even try to be grateful, I guess, for the opportunity. Yeah.
Man, it's a hard pill to swallow that sometimes you don't enjoy that until you've gone through the period that you went through where training was maybe something you could get to. Also, it was really painful and you had no idea what you were going to be able to do that day. And you have to be really careful. And it sounds like Jamal was really good at this about not letting that be an additional stress, like the weight of the pain and the weight of the exercise selection, because that's like so draining. And then too, it's like feels like a breath of fresh air when you're like, oh my God, nothing in my body hurts today. Like, hallelujah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And when I was fighting through the injuries and in the feedback video for the previous day, he would say, "Hey, I'm going to program this, but if you're not feeling great, if things are hurting, you could do this." And he'd give me an example of an alternative.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
And, we kind of used some RPE stuff. And, he's like, "I want you to push to this point, but don't overdo it, especially if you're not feeling good that day." So it kind of gave me the freedom and the flexibility to go in there and get, try to get something accomplished
Yeah.
without becoming too much of a stress. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Some sort of win. Yeah. And then to get back to find that spot, you're like, okay, training, I feel better leaving the gym today than I did when I got here. That's such a win. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I really appreciate how hard it is to go through that and how encouraging you were, Jamal, with like giving someone ideas. That's really big for like anybody who's listening right now and doesn't have a coach. If you've had to try and make the best decision for yourself when you're like, well, what if that makes me more hurt? What if that's not even useful for me to do? And you just are like, well, maybe I'll just leave the gym. It's so nice to have someone like Jamal who's just like, I got you, man. Here are some ideas. Yeah. And like when you're in the middle of that phase, I don't know if you experience this, but it never seems like you're going to get to the other side. Did you have any moments like that?
It does seem like it. Yeah, especially, you had a good week, you're able to make your sessions, and then the next week just totally got turned upside down. Can't get in there. Maybe that injury kind of flared up. So now I'm having to go down and weight or choose different movements to try to get around the pain and the, discomfort or what have you. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
sometimes it seemed like you're taking steps backwards
Yes.
despite your best efforts. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. You're like, oh, cool. This is a great workout. Things are going to do better from here. Then life just
Yep.
laughs at you.
Wake up the next morning and that pain and numbness was back. And it's like, oh man, here we are again. But yeah, during that time you think, am I just completely falling apart? Is there any
Yep.
getting back?
Yeah.
But sure enough, with time and patience,
Yes.
we were able to get back there.
Yeah, there's no recovery cycle where it's just like, okay, this will be better in 7 weeks. Like, nope, you have too much life going on. And I think it's so challenging to deal with that when it's not just you lifting full time because that's your job. There are kids, there's sitting in the car driving people around, there's nights you're not sleeping. And then of course when there's something nerve related, that seems like such a moving target.
Yeah. Some days training it wasn't even the top priority. It wasn't even on the priority list.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, we just tried to get it while we could, I guess, and do what we could.
That's cool. Jamal, I'm sure someone out there listening has gone through something similar. Do you have any piece of advice for them?
Yeah, a very big one is also that we can always use the lifts the way we do them. And there's so many variations which you can usually do some form of it if you have pain, right? There's hardly any day which I don't change the classical lifts to a variation because of shoulder pain, back pain, whatever. And working with someone who can guide you through that can be very beneficial. We have to change things to accommodate you. And even if it's not the way it's written in theory, it doesn't matter so much. You can still progress and enjoy.
Yeah.
And pushing through pain is something the older we get, it's not worth it at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
So change the lifts to variations which you can do pain-free and progress in them. And from time to time, just go back and try it again.
Yeah, because what was working before isn't working now. And then sometimes what's working now isn't working anymore. Just be ready to try something again. Yeah.
And especially, I think the stronger you are, the more experience you get, the more it's valuable to have a very big toolbox of different grips and if you have access to different specialty bars.
Yeah.
And do them. And as we mentioned before, just be, quote unquote, be happy with that. You can do stuff and it feels great. It also feels great mentally if you're able to train.
Yeah.
And focus on the positive, basically.
Yeah.
And do what you can. And it's fine if the optimal stuff doesn't really work.
Yeah. Optimal becomes this ridiculous word. It's like optimal on paper it doesn't even matter. Optimal is what can I do today? And that's all you need. Are any of your kids interested in lifting yet?
They're a little too young.
Oh yeah, they're just doing T-ball. That's pretty teeny.
I tell you, it's kind of in the back of my mind because I encourage the girls to do sports, gymnastics from an early age, T-ball, soccer. I encourage them to live physical lives.
Yeah.
And someday as they get older, I would definitely encourage them to strength train for sports and for life. And maybe I could help them do that as they get older, or maybe point them in the right direction. But it's in the back of my mind. I think it's important part of life to train and be strong. Being stronger only makes everything else better and easier.
Yeah, for sure.
I just enjoy Scott's progress. I'm really happy that he never gives up. That is also something which is very valuable, if you can stick to stuff and not give up, and keep going. Enjoy the process.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking away from you that you just have to be patient, keep going, and find a way that feels good for now, knowing that it can change. And also, I'm motivated by your PRs. Even though it shouldn't matter, it's still exciting. Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing that. I really hope that anyone else who's listening who's going through something similar knows that there is something on the other side of this, and there are ways to modify your training to really meet you where you're at. And it's always okay to modify and find something that's right and go from there.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Jamal. Like I said earlier, he was very helpful, very encouraging,
Nice job.
compassionate when things were tough. So like most things, the toughness, it's temporary, and you do what you can, and those times will pass and things will be a little easier, more accessible for you to get your training in. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Jamal for sure.
Thanks, Jamal. Nice job, both of you.
Thank you.
Well, if you have any questions about what it's like to work with a coach like Jamal or one of our other wonderful coaches here, you can go to barbelllogic.com/experience. You might end up on a call with me. Be happy to look at your lifts. Whatever's going on with your training, really, we've seen it all. We want to make sure that you can do something for the long haul. Gentlemen, thanks again for being here.
Thank
Thank you.
And we will see you all next week.